All right, guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are doing well this week. It's long overdue, but I am now putting out the um, Orb opening range breakout video. This is a channel in our room um, that you can go to and you can trade and you can see that it's not been updated a lot because it requires people to know what it is. I don't think we have a lot of orb traders right now. I do have a small community of orb traders on a different platform that they only trade orb, and that's why I created it. I trade orb on when I first started trading. I learned the orb. It's really versatile. It's good for up to 30 minutes, which I'll show you. Even longer than that, there's retracement plays, there's level tests, there's all that kind of stuff that we already know about and have learned about. But I'm going to try to make this really straightforward and really easy to learn and why you should trade it if you have the account size to do it, meaning you don't need a large account size to do it, but just the extra capital to do it because it is scalps. And obviously, you either need to be all cash and options, so you get that T plus one return in your money the next day, or you're above the PDT where it doesn't matter. So this is a day trading strategy, obviously. We traded on the 3-minute or the 5-minute. I prefer the 3-minute. So here's what you can do. There's tons, if you go to TradingView, there are tons of orb uh, indicators. I have the current time frame, 15-minute, and another current time frame one. And then I also have Michigan Dolphs 30-minute one. So here's what I'm going to be doing in the channel. The reason why it hasn't been updated a lot, outside of the fact that we don't have a lot of orb traders, I want you all to become orb traders. First of all, I think it's a great way to get a little extra gain during the day. Is it takes a lot of time and effort for me to watch the stocks while I'm watching for intranode plays, level ideas, and the breakouts, updating stuff, updating the Twitter, updating the Discord, and all that stuff, and then also the Tesla stuff, which we'll get to as well. Seems like people are actually trading the Tesla, so that's where my focus has been. But I definitely want to get this integrated fully. Obviously, it exists now, but I really want to get this updated every single day. There's only a couple ones that I traded the Orb on. It's SPY, QQQ, AMD, Apple, and a couple others. You really want stocks that can move. You're not going to be trading a Rocket Lab Orb. I mean, look at these candles. Like, that's just ugly. We just don't want to do that. We want stocks that move, have some opening day momentum. So here's what you can do. If you don't want to get indicators, or if you're on a different platform, get your fib retracement out. And obviously, I've taught you guys how to use it. Set it up for 100%, 50, and 0. You can do this on the 1-minute candle. So here's what you're going to see in the room. You're going to see 3 different kind of triggers depending on how the day is moving. So the first trigger is going to be this first 3-minute candle. This first 3-minute candle is going to be the higher risk in and out momentum play that's going off of the sentiment in the very open of the day. So what you have here is you have the first 3-minute candle. You draw out your fib. It opens above this line here at 468.82 it looks like, and then or 468.52, and then we have a break down below this line. Now I'm not paying attention to volume on this. On such a low time frame, volume does not tell you anything. I mean, it just doesn't. It can fake you out way too many times. It can be useful at times to get out or it's not moving or whatever, but just ignore it for this. This is strictly price action. So here we have the breakdown, and we're looking for what we're looking for is a 10% move in the up premium, so it's going to be about 20 to 30 cents on the stock. Okay, so our when we're not waiting for, we can wait for a close or you can not wait for a close. Waiting for a close is obviously a little bit less risky, but you won't capture as much of the move, and not waiting is more risky, but you'll capture more of the potential move, but you might lose more. The win rate might not be as high. So there's a couple things I need to go over. First being that the entries, which is, okay, breakdown. It's breaking down right here, and I'm entering, and we're riding all the way down 30 cents. So if you entered without a close, you're looking at, so 468.48 is the bottom line on that one. So you're looking for 468.18, which you get to the dot, basically. And that's about 10% on the premiums. That's give or take. It also depends on the contract you're taking. I'm taking out of the money ones. It's about 10%. If you're taking in the money ones, it's probably 20, 25%. Especially with momentum. When you get a lot, three, momentum bars like that in a row, the premiums are going to move a little bit more. This purple line here is VWAP. I like to short below it. Just as an extra confirmation. Again, ignore the volume on the small time frame. You're looking at something like this, where you're like, okay, this is below the VWAP. We're breaking down. And I think this will go lower, 30 cents, 20 cents, or whatever. Another thing you can do is add in ATR. So ATR, and this was 24 cents. We went 30 cents. We went a little above the ATR. That's fine. So you're looking at using ATR as a profit target. That's super helpful. You can do that as well. I'm going to keep that on there for later reference. So let's say you waited for a close. You didn't get in. You want to wait for close. That's fine. But here's what's going to happen very often. You're going to wait for a close. You're going to enter here at 468.37. It's going to go down to 468.18. Okay, that's probably not quite 10% of a move. And then it's going to pop back up. It's going to pop back up again. We're hitting that VWAP and we're hitting the bottom line again. So we're bouncing off VWAP and we're bouncing off that bottom line. That to me is a double confirmation. Okay, so you got two rejections here. You reject the VWAP and you reject the bottom line. So that's your confirmation to stay in the trade. Now, if this bar here closed up here, I would get out. Close above VWAP, close back in the channel, get out. That's your stop loss. But you're staying in this trade, and then you get an even bigger move all the way down here to 467.60. So you're looking at a pretty nice and hefty move. And then you come back up. At this point, we're not looking at trades anymore. We're done. On the 3-minute opening range, we're done. All right. Sorry, my fax machine went off. So you can get into some advanced stuff where you're playing VWAP into these levels. This is the indicator. It shows the ATR sections. But that's really advanced, and I won't be actually calling those out because that just takes a lot of time. The next step up, which I do a lot, is the 30-minute orb. The 30-minute orb takes the, obviously, where are we at? Okay. Takes the 30-minute opening range, and so that's why it starts here. It's going to start at 10 o'clock. And what we'll see and what these plays will be, it won't necessarily be breakouts above and below these. Sometimes it will, but most often it will be plays off the 50% line. So I'll either be playing this, which is the Mission Gandalf's opening range, or I will do something like this, which is, again, what I've shown you guys in other videos, is that retracement tool. Sometimes it's the same as the opening range. Sometimes it varies a little bit depending on the body and stuff like that. So we get this opening range, this opening range. So let's look at the past 2 days, these opening ranges, okay? So here's what you can expect for callouts. So here's our opening range. It's 10 o'clock. I'm looking for what's going to happen next, right? So we get a kind of a bop up above the line. I'm not taking an entry there because this is different. This is going to be playing a little bit different than a 3-minute. 3 minutes, a quick scalp in and out. This one's a little more confirmation bias, looking for, you can look at the volume because since you're a little higher time frames. VWAP doesn't take into account too much here because you are on a higher time frame. VWAP doesn't respect higher time frames very much. So you can even, I usually would turn this off, but I'll just keep it on for now. So here's what we're looking at. We have our open range at 10 o'clock. We open here, we go up, reject, but we don't cross down that 50 line, that 50% line. So what I'm looking for is this next candle. What's it going to do? If this candle touches the 50 line and then comes back up above, then I'm looking for one or two things. first off, this is a play that's a little bit high risk. Again, I just want to reiterate that the orb is a higher risk, but it has potential to give high win rates if you're taking 10, 15% gains, which is the whole idea here. So we bop it twice, and we finish green, which tells me people are stepping in on that level. Okay, and when we step in on that level, what I'm seeing is if we can get any momentum on the upside, because shorts are some shorts might be shorting here and saying, okay, it's going to break down, it's going to break down. That's early, that's anticipation. And if buyers step into the anticipation and block it off, you can get a huge burst to the upside, which is what we have here, right? So I would have either entered here and alerted here, which again, if you guys are following the orb chart, you guys can make your own decisions, or you can just follow the opening range alert. Um, Here I would say, okay, we got to bounce, and I'm either doing one of two things: entering on this candle, small size, high risk, or I'm waiting for the break above this candle right here, which happens here, and then I'm entering on a normal size, medium size. I apologize, I'm not going to break the video this time. You guys just have to endure the ringing in the background. And we get a breakout. So that's one of the play calls, and I will say that I'll say 50% hold, or 50% breakdown, or 50% rejection. I'll make it very clear what's happening. And then in terms of entering on this, you can. I, again, have said this before. I don't like big bars. I don't know why. There's some people on YouTube who are ecstatic about big bars and they trade them, and I just don't get it. Big bars are exhaustion. They exhaust the move. And unless you're in it here, you don't want to take it. So I wouldn't take this. Yeah, it goes up, but whatever. It doesn't go up that much, and I don't want it. So we're going to ignore that. So now we're looking at the next day. Now we're looking at actually today, which is the 17th. Where am I? Here we go. All the way down. Draw our lines. Okay. By the way, on this, you can draw it on the 15 minute if you want to. That's completely fine as well. You can draw it on the 15 minute. You can play it on the 15 minute. Just make sure that it's the 30-minute opening range. You don't want the 15-minute opening range. You want the 30-minute opening range, which I will do an alert and say, hey, this is the 30-minute opening range. I'm playing on the 15-minute close or a 15-minute rejection or whatever. I'll make it clear what's happening, again, in the room. That's no problem. Okay. So here we get, and why I played 30 minute usually is because we can pay attention to volume. 30-minute volume is usually pretty solid in most cases. So what we get here, I love days like today. This is so clear. This trading is so clear. People think it's chop. It's not chop. Chop is like this, where you just get this ugly range. This is moves in ABC patterns almost. That's another video I want to put out. So 30-minute opening range today. What we get is a big red bar, so we're just waiting. We do get a double bop on the bottom line, and we come back up. We get a rejection of the middle line, so I'm not taking an entry there. But then we have one of three entries, and I actually talked about this in the Discord today. So here's entry number one, close above the 50 line. And we're going long at 468.50-ish, whatever, give or take. And we're waiting for a take profit near the top line. Near the top line. Doesn't have to touch the top line, doesn't have to go over, can be near it. Plus our ATR value here is 80 cents, so it's pretty volatile. I don't think we're going to get 80 cents or a full dollar out of it. Yeah, we get about 50 cents out of it. That's why I don't always use ATR, especially on 30-minute charts. It's good for lower time frames. Because you won't always get the full ATR in higher time frames. So just be aware of that, and I'll obviously make that clear in the room. And again, I like to use levels as resistance and levels as support and sell into resistance, which is what is happening here. So we have this bar as our first entry. If you didn't get in here and you saw this, what is this? This is the rejection bar. You go below the 50, but you don't close below the 50. I would either enter there again, or not again, I would either enter there or add to my position size after I saw that rejection, telling me, okay, I don't need to stop out. I need to add to my position because I think this is going to go and keep going up. So what we do, yep, and we're up. We're all the way up. Now let's take a look at the 15-minute chart here. This is interesting as well because what you see is a 30-minute opening range ends here. Okay, so the first two candles, obviously. So you go above this line here, just barely. So you can enter there if you want. I wouldn't necessarily because it's not, a confident move. And then you get a drop down here. This is why I don't necessarily love trading on the 15-minute chart because it actually looks like chop. And in my back testing, what I found is the 30-minute chart to be a little more clear, even though it's a higher time frame. And scalping higher time frames, people don't think of that. People are always like, I want to trade the 1 minute. I mean, if you want to trade the 1 minute, go follow Ross Cameron. He's got the 10-second windows up usually. So that's why I like to stick to 30-minute. Again, I'll call it out. Hey, say like, hey, we're trading the 15-minute on this one or 30-minute, whatever looks good. That's usually the judgment. But if you're trading this alone, stick to the 3-minute and the 30-minute. Okay, so moving on. Our take profit would be in this zone right here because we don't want to hold into a resistance point. We want to sell into resistance. We want to sell or short into support. Unless you're dip buying, then you can buy it at support, but that's not what we're doing here. So look what happens next. We get a double top and a huge flush down. Now this is where I would look for another entry. I would leave it. I'm looking long, I'm looking short. I'm not biased either way. So we have a huge drop down. Again, I don't play big bars. I don't play big bars, so I'm not playing this bar. I know that's very subjective. Is that a big bar? Is that a big bar? I think it's somewhat obvious what big bars are, especially with SPY. So we go a little bit lower, and then we come back up. Now we're not across that 50 line again. Here we go across the 50 line, so I'm entering a position. Now we're late in the day. We're past noon. So I will make the call. If I want to play this orb in the room, I will say this is a small position, quick in and out, like 20, 15 cents. So you can take bigger size if you want to do that, or smaller size, however you interpret that. This is an in and out move. So we enter here and we capture roughly 30 cents, which is about 10% on options premiums, even past noon. And we would take that profit and get out. That's usually the profit goal anyways. Even if you see that it's moving up here, you can ride that momentum. I'm always saying 10%, 10%, 10%, 10% adds up over time. And then we get a rejection back down, and we're forming some new stuff. So at this point, I won't be calling. I mean, it's rare that I'll ever call anything past noon on an orb. So I will not be calling much past that, just so you guys know. So to reiterate, we start on the 3-minute. Okay, we start on the 3-minute. I'm going to be making these calls on SPY, AMD, QQQ, and some other stocks that can move in the morning, have high momentum in the morning. And then I will flip to the 30-minute orb for those who missed the 3-minute one, and we'll make some plays. If the orb gives us some plays, we'll play it, and that's it. You guys can rewatch this. I have some educational stuff about the levels and all that in the room as well. So make sure you guys study up on this. Make sure you guys understand. I will try to be as clear as possible when I'm alerting this stuff. The last thing I would want is for someone to try to play the orb and get lost in it. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can reach out to me. I'm available in the Discord.